this lesson, we're going to look at how we can create a map, including a legend, for one of the columns in our pamphlet. Now, there are several stages involved in this process. I have a pre-made map here of the Greater Montreal area, because that's the city I'm doing. And you'll notice we've got our title, we've got a legend down here, and we've got a map that's colored in, and it's tagged with numbers that are associated with different regions or features in the legend. Now to start, I'm going to create a new canvas that will fit the dimensions of the height and width of one of my columns. Now we're going to start off by first ensuring that our parameters here are set to centimeters, not inches, but centimeters. And basically I put my width at 7.5, my height at 18.5, and my resolution I'm going to make it 100 pixels per centimeter, not per inch, per centimeter. And the color mode, I don't want it in bitmap or grayscale, which would be kind of a black and white type photo. I'm going to keep it in RGB color, and it'll start off with a white background. I click OK, and there we go. I've got my blank canvas. My original map that I created is here. The new canvas that I created is there. But you can snap these off. Let me grab this tab, snap it off, and put it over here as a point of reference. And I have my blank over here. Now to get started on this lesson website, that is to say the Integrated Geography Assignment, creating a pamphlet for your city, if we scroll down to the lesson on creating a map with Photoshop, I've included a practice map in here for you. So if we click on that, I cleaned it up so that when you use your paint bucket, the color will pour in evenly across. It won't get jammed in smaller areas. So let me right click on this, and I'm going to copy the image, and I'm going to flip back to Photoshop. Here's a little shortcut for you. For you Mac users, Command key, that's the key to the immediate left of your spacebar, Command and Tab, and you can flip through your programs. I'm going to tab over to Photoshop, and I'm going to paste my map. Now I'm going to choose my Move tool here. Now there are two ways. Let's say now the Move tool, which is right up here, allows me to move my map around. I want to move it right about up here to have room for my legend, and I just need a bit of room for my title up here. And to stretch this image, if I want to give it a full stretching, or stretch it the full width of the pamphlet, now I could do this one of two ways. I can go under Edit, Transform, Scale. Now I want you to notice it selected the map. And over here in the layers, you'll notice that when I pasted, let me hit Escape here to deselect. When I pasted that map, it automatically created a layer for the map. Look, if I turn the eyeball on and off, the map disappears, it reappears. And I'm also clicked on this layer, so anything I do right now is going to be done on that layer. Now layers are kind of like, the concept of layers are kind of like those old overhead transparencies. If you have an invisible or a see-through plastic sheet and you draw a house on one layer, you put it on the overhead, you see a house projected on the wall. Then you take a second plastic sheet, you draw a sun, put that on top, on the overhead projector on top of the house. You now have two layers, one with the sun, one with the house, but on the wall you see one image. Layers is kind of the same concept. Same thing for Photoshop. So you click on the layer you are working on, as I'm doing now. So that way I'm moving the map around. I'm also going to name my layer. I'm going to double click on this layer 1 title and just call it map. There we go. So as I was saying, we can go to Edit, Transform, Scale. And now if I grab one of these corners, these little anchors that appear, you'll notice if I stretch it like that, I've just totally ruined the symmetry of the map. So let me hit Escape and start over. Edit, Transform, Scale. Hold your Shift key, then grab one of the anchors and stretch it. Now the second way you can get the anchors to appear or the bounding box, is by going to this property here, Show Transform Controls. Notice when I'm on the Move tool, if I click, the properties for the Move tool appear up here, and if I click on Show Transform Controls, there they are. I hold my Shift key and I can stretch it a little more. And if I use my arrow keys on my keyboard, I can step it gently into position, hitting my up key now. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to add some color into this map. Let me zoom in. I'm going to do Command plus sign. For PC users, it's Control plus, or Command minus sign to zoom out. Now I'm going to go get my paint bucket. If I move down here, you'll notice that there's little arrows on each of these tools. That means that there are a multitude of tools in there. It's a flyout menu. So if I click and hold down, there we go. We have a second tool under the gradient tool is the paint bucket. The paint bucket's hidden. So I'm going to select the paint bucket. Now I've got to choose some colors. I'm going to choose for the outline areas, I'm going to choose a light green, kind of like farmland, if you will. Actually, maybe a darker green. Let's go dark. Okay. And I click there. Click here. You notice the paint bucket fills any closed area. In this case, the area is closed with a traced black line. It fills it with color. Now, if I want to move up to the top to see the top of my map, I can hold my space bar. My tool, my paint bucket, is temporarily suspended, and my tool switches to the hand tool, the move tool, which enables me to click down and drag the tool, drag the map down. It actually scrolls the window down, and now I'm gonna go. I let go of the space bar. My paint bucket comes back, and I click, and I fill those areas with green. And there we go. Next, I'm going to do the northern ring of Montreal. Now, I like the colors I had on my old map, so I'm going to go sample those colors. In other words, I want to change my foreground color to this exact yellow. To do that, I'll switch to the eyedropper tool. Click on the yellow and watch my foreground color change. Click on the yellow and there it changes. So I'm actually sampling from a different Photoshop image that's open. And then I come back over here, fill the northern ring, and Il Bizarre, and there we go. Okay, now let's label our map. For this, we're going to take our text tool, and I'm going to go with a simple black font. It's clear. These colors are light, so the titles will appear clearly. Let's start with, as you can see over here, we have our northern ring, and it has a little arch over it. So I'm going to start with that over here, and I'll type Laval. I do not like this font. Okay, it's a serif font. It's got little tails on it. I'm going to choose a non-serif font, just a square, thick font like Arial black. Now you'll notice my tool right now is an I bar, but when I move it away from the letters, it turns to a move tool. So you can move your font, but when you're back over your letters, you can click the text tool as it is an I bar anywhere in that text field. I'm going to click down and drag as though I'm blocking in a word like you do in Microsoft Word, say. And I'm going to go over here and type Arial, I-A-L. Whoops, let's do that faster. There we go, Arial black. And a smaller size, there, 9. Switch to my move tool. There's Laval. And let me rotate it. Notice as I pass my cursor, I've still got my move tool selected. And the show transform controls are on. Now when I pass my cursor over here, it's now in a stretch tool, but if I move my cursor a little further away, it turns into an arched, double arrowed icon, which means I can rotate it. Let me do that now. Click down and rotate, then hit enter to register that new angle. And let me do the northern ring. Then I come back up to that text field, click and drag in there, switch it maybe to, I should keep them all font size number 9 to be consistent with the major titles. And I'm going to click on, now notice up here that for the text, the properties for the text all appear up here. And I have over here the warped text tool. I'm going to click on that, put an arc on there. Now the arc is pretty accentuated with a +50. If I move it down to, let's say, 15, that's reasonable. If I did -15 or -20, you'll notice the arc goes the other way. So let me go to +15. Take my move tool, click on the text, move it here, pass my move tool cursor a little further away from the anchor on the edge of the text, and then click and drag down to move it. And then I could hit this check mark or the enter key way up here over in the top right corner. Can hit that check mark to register the new angle and size, the new transform, if you will. And there we go. Now you'll notice on this map, I also put numbers in here. Now, I'm going to fill those in later. It's going to take too much time for this presentation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to put the legend in. So let me zoom out. And